Right, of course, because I should know who that is.
I don't care what you think.
I'll
tell you something that rubbed me right.
Felger and Mazz on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
His frustration lies deeply within the organization and other things that,
of course,
we don't really have the details to. There's just been a lot of stuff, that I've been hearing just going on with the Boston organization, with JB, so I think part of him is like, I showed you guys more of who I am as a basketball player, not only just, what I did on the basketball court, but the leadership that I displayed within, this team. And you've seen that, not having our, best player in JT. You've seen a different side of me and what I'm able to bring to the game of basketball. So all that stuff, I think just came into play with him and his frustration.
And Tracy McGrady is close with Jaylen Brown. And he comes out in the last day there. You heard him just say it, that Jaylen Brown's frustration lies deeply in the organization. Okay, Jaylen Brown, frustration lies deeply in the organization that we don't have details to. There's just been a lot of stuff that I've been hearing just going on with Boston, the Boston organization with JB. Mazz, your thoughts?
I'm concerned. I think it's real. And the only question to me is, when does it reach a breaking point? Is it already there and we don't know it? Stevens was asked about this thing with McGrady.
You'll hear it in a second.
Okay. So, and, I think it's real. I think that Jaylen Brown had the kind of experience this year that he obviously loved, and he wants his own thing. I think he wanted it before this year, and this year in his mind validated who he can be as a player, how he needs to play to succeed in the league, and the Celtics don't want to play that way, at least when Tatum's around, and Brown is reaching the point where he's going to throw up his hands and say, get me out of here. I think there was some of it last offseason. So I've had people reach out to me in the last couple of days that I will say are connected to the NBA community. Mm-hmm. Okay, define that however you want. And they say that there was discussion between the Celtics and Atlanta Hawks last offseason that Atlanta called about Jaylen Brown, and the Celtics listened. So I think Brown would be interested in going to Atlanta. Obviously, it's where he's from. And I think the Celtics might be now reaching a point where they recognize there's an issue with Brown that they might not be able to fix. And on top of it all, they might need to change the way they play at least a little bit. And Brown might be able to get them someone that can complement Tatum a little bit better.
He wants out. And I think that was evident with the stream the day after they lost this series to the Sixers. But we can all agree, off the floor, like, really smart guy, too, right? Like,
Yes.
Cal Berkeley, spoke at MIT, Harvard, all of that. Let's not overlook the timing of this and this news dropping last night from a close friend of his, Tracy McGrady. Last night, what happened today? Brad Stevens speaks today, knows he's going to get peppered about this. Just further proof that he's trying to put the screws to them a little bit or pressure them to try to make some kind of deal. I think he wants out.
Brown also said he was, what was the thing today? He was going to go do another live stream today with Kevin Garnett?
Yeah, at 3:30, but I guess that's now been pushed to, he's going back on stream tonight. He was supposed to go to Instagram a half hour ago, and I don't think that happened.
Now he's going to be streaming tonight.
Yeah.
This guy likes his streaming.
Yeah.
Very online.
Exhausting. All right, let's hear Brad Stevens. He was asked about this today at his press conference. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Brad, Jaylen has expressed a lot of frustration in the immediate aftermath of the loss, and Tracy McGrady came out today or yesterday. Obviously, Tracy's close with Jaylen and said Jaylen has some frustrations with the organization. Have you felt any of those frustrations? Has he expressed them to you? Is the relationship with Jaylen, has that evolved at all?
I talked to Jaylen Monday a little bit after he just real quickly and was nothing but positive. He has not expressed those frustrations to me. We've been here 10 years together, and I do think that, obviously I love JB and everybody around here loves JB. And, I think just like any of our other guys, as we get to the end of the season, I'll be here and my door's always open. And if anybody ever wants to talk about it and talk about, their team, their place, whatever the case may be, I'm all ears. And that would be 1 through 16, not just, Not just Jaylen, not just Jason, not just the guys that have been here. I think it's really important to be available. So I certainly am, and none of that has been expressed to me.
First I've heard of it, door's always open, though. He didn't really give any tone there, but you could sort of put it on it there a little bit.
Yeah, if you're going to bitch to me. Don't
door's
bitch
open
to someone else. There's a tone. There's definitely a hint of that in there.
Door's open.
Yeah, so look, again, do you think that means that Brown hasn't expressed it in the past?
I think, again, Stevens is being, I don't know if to say lying.
No, but obtuse.
Obtuse.
Yes.
Like, come on.
I feel the same way.
This is the first you've heard of it?
And
really?
The other thing is,
how many times has Brown said over the years and talked about the sacrifices that he's had to make?
So the other thing is, if I take it literally, that Brown didn't complain. How about his agent? So look, we all know how pro sports work. Do I think Jaylen Brown or somebody for Jaylen Brown has expressed his frustration with the way they play and his role when Tatum comes back? My answer is yes. So do I think it's in play that they could move him as soon as this offseason? My answer is yes. I think it's in play.
I mean, when he's playing with Tatum, he is so eager to tell you about the sacrifices he makes and what he could be on another team and how he has to fit into a role here. I mean, he won't shut up about it. Tells you constantly. Now, just most recently when Tatum wasn't here, he's eager to tell you how much fun he's having. It doesn't take Inspector Clouseau to figure out what he's trying to say. So the question is he just sort of being a drama queen about the thing? You know what I mean? He's just sort of playing up the drama of it? Or is this is really it, and he's just trying to express that it's not for him anymore?
It might be that second time.
I think it's B.
Yeah, look, again, now again, who knows? Okay, we don't know. But I'm telling you, somehow, some way, sooner or later, it's going to get to B. So maybe that's this summer. Maybe it's next summer. I don't know. I thought I heard today on Zolak and Bertrand. Is he eligible for a contract extension this summer, that they can extend his deal this summer?
If they've got a year left, doesn't he? If he has a year left, I think, isn't that the rule?
I think he's got a couple left, though.
Okay, so I don't know what the...
No, so the reason I'm saying that is because someone said that, well, then the Celtics need to lay that thing in front of him, find out, and if he says no, you got to trade him. So if that's the reason I ask, is that it serves as an impetus for them to accelerate the process. We might be there. It might be there already. So I think it's something that's got to be talked about. Put it this way: if Stevens is going to talk about improving the roster, and we got to find ways to get other people, who can get shots on their own and augment the team, and we got to get bigger and better. And I'm paraphrasing some of that. Well, and Jaylen Brown doesn't want to be here. What do you do? Especially if you want to somehow still control payroll.
Do you think Jaylen Brown has a right to be frustrated and, deep frustrations in the organization? Again, stuff that Tracy McGrady's been hearing just going on with the Boston organization and Jaylen Brown?
Well, if the deep frustrations meant getting rid of players because of money, you just had this super team that did win the title, and now we're shipping off guys like Drew Holiday because of what? Money and new ownership? If we knew those deep frustrations were about that, then any player is right to be pissed because, why'd you break this up? Because of money? That's stupid. But I don't think that's the reason. I think it's play style, and the coach prefers Jason Tatum and the way he plays and him being the focal point of the offense, and that he's not the star of the show.
So my answer to that would be no more than anybody else. Everybody gets frustrated about something, right? So I'm sure Peyton Pritchard's pissed about being back on the bench on some level. They all get mad about something. But does he have right to feel as though he has been, treated poorly?
Slighted by the team?
My answer would be no.
I mean...
No. It's not that bad.
The 1st and the 15th of the month, you do all right.
He's got one of the biggest contracts in the sport.
Highest paid player in the history of the game when his turn was due.
He's got a teammate that he's playing with who's one of the best players in the league. Not that he isn't, but that is a little. In other words, the environment is good. You're in a place where you're being richly rewarded. You have a team that can win. You generally have a good fan base and good ownership.
I'm just telling you, I guess what I'm hinting at, I'll stop hinting. I just think he's constantly aggrieved. There's just this constant grievance, constant injustice. And it gets a little exhausting, and I think it's, in some cases, overplayed. It's just, have you really been treated that poorly by the officials? Have you really been disrespected that badly by the organization? Is it really as bad as you're carrying on? I don't think so. But the point is, he feels it and he expresses it, and it gets I'd say a little exhausting. He's an exhausting kind of guy. He's got a lot of things going for him and has been treated well, I think, largely, and is in a really good spot. Really fortunate guy, and he's deserved it. He's hardworking and talented. So I think it's all kind of worked out for him. I think on balance, he's gotten what he deserved. The basketball gods, Murray, have rewarded someone who is talented and hardworking and dedicated, and he's been rewarded by it. What's the problem? Sometimes I say, like, Brian, Jaylen, what's the problem? I'm like, come on. So, here we are again with Jaylen Brown, but whether he's sort of embellishing it or just laying it on too thick or whatever the case, it's definitely real.
Oh, he could be in way worse places than this. He has not had, it has not been bad for him here. Again, does he want to be the number one? Is Tatum in his way?
So you'd rather be a number one on the Atlanta Hawks?
I think he would at this point.
How am I supposed to respect that?
I know. Well, I feel like you feel. Like, I don't. So when
you'll
you
be the number one in New Orleans for the Pelicans, but it's your team. You're that guy?
He has not been mistreated here.
Don't we hate that guy?
Yeah, he's not.
Just again, that, like Damian Lillard, which, became clear to me. Damian Lillard, more content scoring 35 points a game on a play-in team in Portland than he was being a role player or a number two on a championship caliber team. Not necessarily that the Bucks were, but you know what I mean. He seems far more content to be a number one on a bad team because it's his team than being part of a big winning outfit.
I think the majority of those guys end up regretting it 10 years after their career is over. And then they look back on it and say, but that was stupid. I had a good thing there, man. How many number ones, true number ones, are there in the league? I was with one. All I had to do was be the number two, and it would have been fine. We would have had a good run, and we would have won some titles, and it would have been way better off. But I was stupid and selfish.
I would say it's just not that bad here, Jaylen. You don't got it so bad. Not as bad as you think, apparently. But now that's on the table. Your calls right after this.
Felger and Mazz continue on the Sports Hub.
I didn't really fully think until that Twitch stream that this is kind of what Jaylen wants. So I want them to stay together, but maybe this is just how the league goes.
The fact that he is that smart and yet thought it would go over well to be like, yeah, I know I've won a championship here and been to 6 conference finals, but the year where my running mate was out with the torn Achilles and we flamed out a 3-1 lead in round 1, best year ever. Even if you feel that way, that ain't going to go over well. And then the decision to do it and to do it with those 3 dudes just standing like none of it made any sense. And so I'm like, I know he's a smart, thoughtful guy, yet he's doing this, which is...
Well, but you have to flip that around. So why is he doing it?
Correct.
And he is a smart guy. And correct. I think that's... My takeaway after that was he's probably okay with moving on.
Hashing that out. I don't know what else I'm supposed to believe. The way he's carrying on. It's also like... It's kind of like when you lose a presidential election, that you're supposed to kind of go away for a little bit. If not for a little bit, like more than a little bit. But you lose a big playoff game or big playoff series. Do you typically go on some kind of like streaming tour?
No.
Not
I mean, in this day and age,
later.
I don't know.
I mean,
maybe.
you do a wrap-up press conference at your locker or at the podium. That's what all these teams do. But I don't know.
Then you decompress.
Then you sort of like get out of the way for a little bit and just take your lumps and you go on some sort of like tour. I don't know. I guess I got to think of this.
You do if you're aggrieved. I don't see Nikola Jokic doing it this time. He went back to Serbia to go race with his horses or whatever that was.
Have I heard from Nikola Jokic? That's a good point. That's a excellent example. Have I heard from Nikola Jokic?
Nope.
No. Season ends. Even if he wins, he can't wait to get the hell out of here.
Seriously, that guy can't skip town fast enough.
I don't even think he likes basketball that much.
No,
really.
I don't think he does either.
But the point is kind of like you take your loss, you talk about it once, and then you just sort of go away for a little bit and let the other guys play it out, and you just not Jaylen. He's like, you start doing like a stadium tour. This guy,
Jimmy said he is eligible for an extension in July.
This offseason.
He came in during the break and said it. Yep, validated. Yep, he's eligible this offseason.
Okay, back to your phone, sir, as promised. Thank you for waiting. Chuck in the car. Go ahead, Chuck.
Hey, I just want to propose a new nickname for Joe Mazzulla because he's no longer a head coach. He's just a software programmer. That's what he is. He punches in numbers, expects a result, and then it doesn't happen that way in the playoffs. He says, oh, well, we'll go to the next algorithm and we'll hope for the best.
I think that's largely what he is. I think a lot of coaches are like that now. I think those are the bad coaches. They just manage off a spreadsheet, and they don't think about individual situations or the human beings or the human element of a specific situation. It doesn't factor in. It's about what's the most efficient shot on paper, and that's what they defer to. And that's certainly what Joe Mazzulla defers to. There's no question about it. Kyle in the car. Go ahead, Kyle.
I think we're mischaracterizing Mazzulla's mindset. The previous caller said engineer. You're talking about his adherence to math and the formula. If it's a math thing, there's been more than significant evidence with the Knicks series and then Game 5 and Game 6. The math is showing, the data is showing that it's not working. And I'm not saying this in an offensive way. It's dogmatic. And this personality-wise, this is not offensive to him and his faith, but the way he presents himself, he's steadfast. He is devoted, pun intended, to the Trinity. And he's not looking at the human element and what's going on around him.
Agreed.
And I think the personality, I'm not saying everyone who has that faith, but something about his personality is dogmatic.
Yes.
And he's not looking at the human element. And I think, seriously, there could be an overlap. And I think that could be an issue going forward.
100%. I mean, you want to go first, Mazz?
No, so what does he mean by overlap? I don't get it.
Well, overlap being that, well, I don't know if this is what he means, that this is what I take it to be. Take out the fact that he's analytical and numbers-driven and all of this. He's also stubborn.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He's also, I think, either insecure or immature or lacking that thing that allows you to admit what you don't know and admitting your mistakes and trying to be better because of them. I think he sort of lacks that personality trait.
Yep.
Okay? You combine that with the numbers-driven thing, that's how you get what you get. He's not just numbers-driven, he's stubborn.
Got it.
And kind of small.
So that's what he means by the overlap.
And then I think those two things combined.
Yes, combining elements.
Nothing worse than a stubborn, dogmatic nerd.
Yeah, no, again, yesterday I used the word cultish. It is. It's like that with him. It's like, heaven forbid you suggest anything else. It's like, you're an idiot. You don't know anything. Not only does he disagree with you, he doesn't even see the other side. I mean, it's that vehement. It is. It's preposterous to what they keep doing in terms of the way they shoot it. And on some level, he doesn't think that the problem is the system. He thinks that he doesn't have the right pieces to execute it. Like, I'm convinced, maybe that's part of the reason Stevens was talking about the roster.
Well, he doesn't think they're bad shots. The problem is that they missed them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Not sort of drawing a line between the two that says, well, maybe it's not as easy of a shot to make as you're presenting it as.
Well, the numbers say that's a 42% shot, and we only shot it at 28, so what the hell?
Not my problem.
Yeah, right, exactly. Find me someone who can make it at 42.
Joe in New Bedford. Go ahead, Joe.
It's not Joe's fault. We just need some better players. What we didn't have a bench. We only got 5 good players. And I think Brad Stevens going to go out and get some players. And most of them guys going to be gone.
Joe, did you bet the Sixers going into the series?
The Knicks on was 6? No, I didn't bet them. No. I don't bet. I don't gamble.
Okay. All right, but did you like the Sixers going into the series?
Mike,
be honest.
I'm going to tell you this. You need to stick to hockey, man, really. Mazz, you need to stick to baseball. Murray, he know a little basketball, but you guys need to stick to y'all sports. That's where y'all good at.
Okay.
You hockey, Mike, and Mazz is baseball.
Well, they used
Thank
to.
you anyway, though.
All right, no, thank you.
Joe, be well.
Tommy Heinsohn used to call me Puckhead. That's with a P, Puckhead.
Thanks, Joe, but I hate the coach, and I want him gone. I think he is a big part of the problem.
Well, I'm hearing this now, too, that the Celtics didn't have enough players. They were
up 3-1.
They were minus 900 on the series. They were favored in every game of the series, even up until Game 7, after Tatum went out, they were still, I think, 4.5, 5-point favorites in Game 7. They had the better team. They had the better team to start the series. They had the better team to end the series. I should say the more talented team. They also had home court advantage. They also had a 3-1 lead. I think to go back after the fact of blowing a 3-1 series lead with the last 3 of their games at home and being favored throughout, and then turn around and say, well, Philly actually had better players, it's
just disingenuous. The
height of revisionist history. You did not feel that way at any point until after they lost.
No, they gagged. They did. They gagged. And I'll tell you what, as you were saying this and after the call, I thought to myself, did they outscore Philly in the series? And they did by 20 points. Yet they lost the series. What does that tell you? Tell me there isn't a stat that better illustrates who the Celtics are than over 7 games, we will outscore you. Because, again, that's math. But we'll lose the series because we're stupid and we have no balls.
The Sixers are losers. They're losers. And now you're going to talk yourself into the fact that they have suddenly better players than you? You never felt that at any point, ever.
They win the blowouts. When the games are close, the analytics go out the window and they gag.
Scott and Canton, 2 questions. Go.
Number one, would you like to see Jaylen Brown to be at the Celtics next year? And number 2, I would like to see Jaylen Brown to be at the Celtics.
Okay, so that's really one question, one statement. That's okay.
Yes.
No.
I'd keep him.
No, this isn't going to change.
Tough.
It's going to get worse.
Tough.
So, Murray, if he were willing to, in other words, yeah. If
he won't be.
Okay, but if he
And
were,
I'm sick of them. I'm good. Blow this up. They're not good. Their one title's fake, and so they need to switch things up here.
I still think the best plan is the 2 of them together if they're both bought in.
Me too.
But I don't know if Brown's bought in anymore.
Well, you just got to sort of put up with them. I've never seen either of them like it reflect on the court. You said this yesterday.
Yeah, no, it hasn't on the court. But
I mean, I don't like Tatum's play style half the time, but I don't think he's ever jaking it.
No, neither one of them has.
Or not playing hard. He has a sort of finesse to his game, but I don't think he's like. I don't think he checks out like I've seen LeBron check out or other players check out.
Definitely not.
So I think that Brown can go on being aggrieved and just this massive injustice that has been hoisted upon him by the Celtics organization, and he's going to go out and play hard, and I just deal with it. I just live with it if I were them.
So, again, the best plan would be to keep them together. I'm just not sure Brown wants to be here anymore. I'm really coming around to that.
More of your thoughts coming up after Big Jim Murray gets you updated here.
Whee! Goalie fight.
Felger.
Whee! Look at the goalie fight.
Oh,
Mazz.
oh my God.
Murray.
He sucks in the playoffs.
That's great. No.
98.5.
Wonderful. Good.
The Sports Hub.
Trevor Story is going to get drilled. That's tired. After the back-to-back home runs, Valdez plunks him, and some of the Red Sox coming out, and some of the Tigers coming out, and both benches are emptying.
You can't get them out, so you throw at them. What a joke.
Red Sox bullpen is about to enter this thing, too, as they race across the outfield grass. No punches or anything thrown.
No, the one guy who caused it's hiding in the back.
Mazz, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so what happened is the Red Sox started teeing off on Framber Valdez because they were tipping pitch location from second base. Eric Hosmer, formerly of the Red Sox for a period of time, he was here for a very short stint, but obviously with the Royals and the Padres as well. Pretty accomplished major leaguer. Did a great breakdown of this that's online where he shows Wilyer Abreu standing on the bag with 1 foot to indicate that, which way a pitch was going to go, and then tapping his hat to indicate breaking ball was on the way, and Trevor Story then doing something. When Rafael hit a 3-run home run to the opposite field, okay, right before that pitch, Trevor Story indicated that a fastball was coming. So bottom line is this.
By doing what?
I didn't notice. I didn't see it exactly, and honestly, I was running around so much this morning I don't remember. But Hosmer pointed it out, and I don't remember if he lifted his left arm but there was something there. And then again, Rafael a 3-run home run. The Red Sox go up 3-0, and that was in the first inning, right out of the gate. I mean, they were all over Framber Valdez. So then I thought, well, this is interesting. So the Red Sox can only hit when they tip pitches or tip location to their hitters from second base. And it reminded me of something that Buster Olney said last week. I think you guys talked about it. There's actually audio. He was on the Just Baseball podcast with a couple of guys that I've never heard of, but I don't mean to diminish them. Jack McMullen and Peter Appel. Okay, here's what Buster Olney said last week.
A couple of teams have sort of thrown out the theory that last year that the Red Sox had gotten so good at ferrying pitch grips and signs and that sort of thing to hitters that they were considered to be the best team at it. Like they had the feeling of other teams was they had a built-in competitive advantage because they could not only ascertain what the next pitch was going to be, but they could relay that information to the hitters. Well, that's gone, not only because of the restructuring of where the coaches' box are, but also because of the experience of the coaching staff now. They had guys who were considered to be extraordinary at that type of skill. And by the way, that's not considered cheating in baseball, as you know. And so, yeah, it's a total makeover of the Red Sox hitting philosophy.
Okay, so now this was all before the Red Sox went out and slapped around Framber Valdez last night, and Hosmer pointed out that they're still doing it. So the question is, where's it coming from and who's doing it? When Cora got fired and they blew out half the staff, I went to look at the list of people who got fired, and then I looked at who was still on the staff. And when I looked at who was still on the staff, and it didn't strike me at the time, but one of the people that's still on the staff is Jose Flores, who was the first base coach. Last June, if you remember, in a game at Fenway Park, Flores was the guy who got into the shouting match pregame with Tyler Anderson of the Angels, who was yelling at him during batting practice.
Oh, yeah, right.
They got into it on the field because Anderson accused Flores of tipping pitches from the first base coach's box. So the point is, Flores knows how to do it. So Flores is probably teaching the players. He can't leave the coaching box anymore. And I wonder, by the way, if this is the reason why he's still here. They fired everybody else out, but keep Flores here because he's going to get our offense on track because he can teach our hitters and base runners how to tip location to our hitters because we suck so bad we're not going to score any other way.
Or they got to keep him because he'll spill the beans about all the cheating.
Or that, too. So, look, but if you're asking me, what do I think's going on with the Red Sox? I think they're stealing signs again. And tipping, now again, as Olney said, it's not illegal. Right. But do I think this team is good enough to all of a sudden start, teeing off on Framber Valdez, who at some point says, all right, enough is enough. You're obviously tipping my pitches from second base. So Story gets in the batter's box. And remember, he was the one who tipped on the Raffaello homer. He takes the ball in the back between the shoulder blades and then has the audacity to get pissed off about it. So the Red Sox want to get pissed about it when the fact is, I think the gig is up. I think that teams know they're doing it again, and so let's see how many times the Red Sox can execute it. But I think this is the crap now that's going on with the local baseball team.
Okay, there's your Red Sox segment of the day. They can only hit or win when they cheat.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much it.
That is it in its essence.
That's our conclusion. Back to your calls. Long commercial-free segment comes your way right after this. Sean and Lawrence. Go, Sean.
You keep saying, I didn't actually watch the game, whether it's Patriots, Celtics, Bruins, whatever. Isn't your job as a talk show host to actually watch sports?
So I would say my job is to get you to listen.
That is the job.
Mission accomplished.
Take this job and shove. Felger and Mazz, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Who gets the first pick of the draft?
Draw. It's the annual porking of the ping pong balls. Even if the ping pong balls bounce in your favor this year, the odds are likely you're going to get porked.
12.
Wow.
Number 12.
Porking of the ping pong ball.
The Toronto Maple Leafs have won the NHL Draft Lottery.
The porking of the ping pong ball.
Toronto was Bruins won the first draw in the 2026 Draft Lottery, and as a result of winning the draw, they have the number 1 overall selection in the 2026 draft.
Meanwhile, we have that. Let's circle back to that. The NHL Draft Lottery going against the Bruins last night has turned some folks around here into stark, raving mad lunatics. Tinfoil hat, deep state conspiracy theorists.
One in particular.
Normally mild-mannered, soft-spoken, gentle souls like Kevin Majori into complete raving lunatics.
It is, I'm telling you.
Murray's already half nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Right, like that I expect.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's part of the
Majori.
No, he's like
a nice, gentle kid.
He really is like one of the most agreeable people in the building. It's unbelievable. It's like, and all of a sudden, it's like the dark side of Majori.
QAnon over there.
Really, yeah, the dark side came out. It's like, whoa, there's his trigger.
Yeah, there's only so much you can take. You keep getting boned by corporations like Ernst & Young. You start to lose your mind.
Do you think the Maple Leafs are more important to the NHL than the Bruins?
I would say yes.
In the Canadian market, I mean, Canada's still huge for them.
Yeah, so I understand your point, though.
I mean,
I know it's an American league.
Yeah, I mean,
ish.
But
their American markets are more important to them. I mean, the big ones, right? I'm not talking about Utah.
But Toronto is,
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. But so's Boston.
True, absolutely true. Yeah, so that's fair. But man, look, you could argue that one either way. I don't think that. I told you, I don't think they rigged the thing. But Majori, I like the Majori story as much as anything. Talk about a complete, he snapped. Majori's just kind of snapped.
One thing's clear, they don't give a rat's ass.
I've never seen it.
If they care about Canada, they don't care about the Canucks, who've missed the playoffs 16 times since they introduced the draft in 95, the lottery in 95. They haven't jumped a single time. Not once.
Is that not even moved up a spot?
No.
Oh, my God.
That is great.
So there's also that. I just think you got a bad bounce. Again, you got another bad bounce. But if you think it's rigged because for some reason Ernst & Young wants to make sure that Gavin McKenna plays for one hockey team over the other, if you think they'd risk that on live national television with a funny ping pong ball machine or a weighted ping pong ball, also a certain hockey player could go to the Maple Leafs versus, I don't know, San Jose, I think you're nuts. I think you're crazy. But this is what happens, Mazz. People get crazy about this stuff.
And the people you don't expect.
So you'll hear Majori's reaction coming up. But John in Georgia on this very thing, I believe. John, thanks for hanging on. What do you got?
Yeah, hey, so the green teamer delusional psychosis is starting to infect the Bruins fans. And granted, I haven't lived in Boston for 13 years, so my sample size is online, but everybody seems to think that this team is 1 or 2 players away from a cup run, which is insane. I mean, David Pastrnak is only a top goal scorer because he's a stat-humping loser. Where is this coming from?
So I haven't heard many people say they're 1 or 2 players away.
Me neither.
So I don't know where you're. I'm sure someone believes that, but I don't think the balance of Bruins fans thinks they're a player away. I think the balance of Bruins fans knows the score. They're quite a bit away.
Okay, I mean, it seems like they think David Pastrnak is some sort of some sacred cow that you can't touch.
Oh, that's true.
That part's definitely true.
They've vastly overrated David Pastrnak and don't critique him or look critically at him like they should. That's 100% true. So I agree with you on that. I think
they do the same to McAvoy too, unfortunately.
And not as badly. I think the fanboy stuff with Pastrnak is over the top and clueless and doesn't help the cause. He's not. If he's your best player, you're porked. That's all I'm telling you. But you think because he scores a lot of points, you should put up with all that losing hockey and all the loser stuff that he does. And I don't know. It's just not true. It's just if you're an elite championship caliber player, you put up points and you don't hurt your team on the other end as much as he does. But I guess Bruins fans are okay with it just so he puts up the points. I'll give it to you on that. Bruins fans do sound like green teamers when it comes to Pasternak. How about Bert in Berlin on the press conferences today? Yes, Bert.
Yeah, I mean, as a Boston sports fan, it's a special feeling when both of your winter teams have their season-ending press conferences on the same day. So that's special, but then I'm thinking, all right, so what are we taking from this? Well, it's going to be a long summer, but I'll start with the Celtics. They're made up, their leaders are passive-aggressive weenies. The coach is a psychotic puppet, and Brad Stevens, as you heard him today, he's like, hey, he's in on it. They didn't expect to win. They didn't win. And he's just going to – that's how it's going to be for a while, guys. I wish it wasn't the way.
Yeah, no, on the play style thing, he's a little more in on it than I'm comfortable with. I know some of it he doesn't want to rip his coach, but I think he believes some of the stuff he was saying today.
Yeah, I wish he wasn't as in on it as he is, because he clearly believes in the three-point thing as much as anybody else in the league outside of his, his extremist coach.
The thing that I thought was the most genuine is that he says, I want to look at it shot by shot. So look at every possession in a vacuum. And did we go to the right place with the ball and ultimately take the right shot? And I think his implication there is that a lot of times we are taking the right shot, because that's what that is. That's a way to defend it. When you look at the Peyton Pritchard corner three with under 2 minutes left in a 1-point game in Game 7 in the playoffs, you kick it out to an open corner three. That's a good shot. That's a good look. In a vacuum, that's a good shot. And I think he has it wrong. I think it's a mistake. Even if that's in a vacuum a good shot, there is a lot of evidence that teams that shoot the three-point ball at the rate that the Celtics do, not just a lot, but like a lot, they don't do anything in the playoffs. Houston Rockets never did. You never did. When any team gets way out of whack with the three-point ball, like way out of whack like they are, they lose. And he's not factoring that in. So the Peyton Pritchard shot might have been a good look. But all those 3 pointers are leading the losses. Why don't you get your head out of the spreadsheet, the efficiency ratings, the per 100 possessions, like all that stuff, and look at the actual real scoreboard. You're losing these games. And I don't know if he looks at it that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure they do.
They're looking at it in terms of efficiency and per 100 possessions and not the scoreboard.
Right. You're talking about situational play.
I'm talking about the scoreboard.
Yeah.
They're shooting a ton of threes and they're losing.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, again, the scoreboard is 98, 97, or 97, 96, whatever the number is. All you need is 2. That's, to me, that's pretty easy. Take the easiest shot you can get.
You shot more three-pointers than any team in NBA history last year, and you lost in the second round to a prohibitive underdog at home. This year, you shot more three-pointers than any team in the playoffs, and you lost at home to a play-in team. But the Peyton Pritchard shot was a good shot. Well, can't you relate the two? Why can't you see that one thing is leading to the other?
Because of the numbers.
It's leading to the loss. And he's not drawing the line on it. And so,
yeah, but that sheet says that we should make that 42% of the time.
So I was disappointed in hearing him. I think he's a little more on Mazzulla's side of things than I'm comfortable with. And if it ain't going to change, then it ain't going to change. You're going to keep getting bounced. And in a lot of cases by lesser teams who just wait for you to shoot yourself out of it. And you keep doing it. Tom and Quincy on the Sox. Hi, Tom.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, I got to say one thing. Like, the Sox finally score runs, which I've been pissing and moaning about all season that they haven't scored runs. So then they score runs, and then people are like, well, it looks like they're stealing signs and they're doing this and that. It's like, can I go one effing game where they actually put runs up? Where you don't say, well, they probably did this, they probably did that, they might have done this, they was eyeing the catcher, eye contact, stepping off the bag, tapping the helmet, this and that. Can you just let me have one night of going, Framber Valdez sucked, all right? I don't care if they did steal signs. I think everyone steals signs. Can I just get through one effing spring with the Sox being the worst team in baseball, scoring runs, and just say, hey, you know what? They actually put some at-bats together. I don't care if you have to steal signs,
You have to.
Nope, Tom, I'm going to cut you out. There's always a catch.
Yeah, that would require real talent.
Yes. There's only one way for them to produce, and that is to cheat.
I think so, too.
I mean, that's what that's...
I think at one point last night they had 5 straight RBI singles. And I said, well, that's not possible.
No way. You rarely, if ever, see a major league pitcher nail someone just out of frustration. I'm having a bad night. They do it because they think you're cheating, which they were.
You are. Tom in Hampton. Yes, Tom.
Yes. Hi, guys. Thank you for taking my call.
All right.
Go ahead, Tom, please.
Oh, listen, I wanted to talk about three-pointers. Last year, the Celtics shot 66% in making three-pointers. Larry Bird, 20 years ago, shot 67.6 in his three-point shots in making them.
No way.
I don't like your numbers there, Tom.
67%.
Well, it's true.
It's not.
No, he did not make 67% of his three-pointers.
Now, then I would say go ahead and take the three.
Definitely.
That's what I would say.
No, I would fire away on those.
Justified in being back there. Here's a 90-second update with Big Jim Murray, and then we're right back.